Cool. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to one of our fixtures in the diary, the Thursday webinar. And this one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to try and run it as a panel session, but we are going to run through a few slides first just to lay the groundwork for the Q&A. But we have a wonderful panel of experts here who are going to help us try and make this an amazingly informative session that you can go away and do something very practical with regard to Brexit. So what I'd like first for all of us sitting here on this side of the screen, on the speaker side of the screen, is to know that you're all alive, well, and kicking. So do tell us where you are, say hello. Tell us what country or city you're calling in from or you're listening in from. And I see we have Cecilia. Good morning, Cecilia. How are you? Any others out there? Oh, yeah, look at them. Oh, they're coming in now. Ciao from Italy. Hi, Adam from London. Oh, my goodness. There's so many. I can't read every single one of them out now. Because I can't speak that fast, actually. But it looks like we do have quite a number of people, and they're all coming in from a number of different places, including East Anglia and Aberdeen. I hope everyone is okay in Aberdeen. So lots of people from the UK, since this is obviously a bit of a UK-focused session here today. Well, first of all, thank you to everyone who's here. It's really, really lovely to see you all. Let's get going. So can we see the slides, Christian? Christian's in charge today, really. He's driving the show.
1 second.
Okay. Oh, look at this. So my hope by the end of this is that everybody will have had an idea of what you might want to think about doing in order to prepare for Brexit. And the way that we're going to run this is that I'll kick off just by talking about what I've concluded. So this is a very personal opinion that I've come to about what I believe I'm going to have to do to change my business. Not everybody will follow that strategy, and that's absolutely fine. All I'm doing is kind of diarizing my journey here. But then we're going to have the other speakers present their solutions, their opinions, and their insight and wisdom in order to help you guys make a decision as to what you want to do. But we'll try and keep it very practical. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just make sure that everybody knows everybody. So we're just going to start off by doing a bit of a roundtable introduction. I'm assuming that everybody knows that I'm Shelley Simone and that Christian and I run ScaleForEtail, but I'm sure we do have some newbies here today. So who's here for the first time? Can we just get a shout out from anyone that has discovered this for the first time? Most of the names I know, and it looks like we've got so many people here who, oh, hi, Nancy. We've got a newbie. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Ree. Hi, Carly. Good. So we have some newbies. So I guess I should really say hello and welcome. It's really lovely to see you all here. And in that case, I'll just do a quick intro about ScaleForEtail. So we are, Christian and I are Amazon sellers and very much in the trenches. And we started off ScaleForEtail a couple of years ago. Well, actually, it's nearly 3 years, isn't it? Oh, my God, how time flies. 3 years ago to really help ourselves share knowledge and bring education to the UK, bring speakers to the UK from the Amazon circuit who maybe wouldn't have come if we hadn't asked them very nicely. And so we've been running meetup events for at least a couple of years. And obviously, over the course of COVID-19 and the ongoing virus, we've turned this into a socially distanced kind of organization. And so we meet by webinar, normally on Thursdays, and we do at least 2 of those per month. And also we have a very active Facebook group, and you're all welcome to join. Okay, so that's us. I'm now going to hand over to Nathan. Would you like to just say a quick hello?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Nathan, and I work for Payoneer, which is a partner of ScaleForEtail. We're a market-leading payment solution for e-commerce sellers. See quite a few familiar names in the comments there. So hi everyone that's met me before, and hello to everyone that's new. I'm really looking forward to today, and hope we all get some insightful takeaways.
Cool. Alex, over to you.
Hi everyone. Shelley, thank you very much for inviting me today. My name is Alexander Friedman. I'm here from Latvia, from Baltic States. I'm founder and CEO of company Vapi. Vapi is a fulfillment and courier service IT integrator. We have 28 partners and 14 warehouses all over Europe. And we're now adjusting all our warehouse network to fulfill all the needs of Amazon sellers, especially those who are in UK, and especially to solve the issue of Brexit. So I'm here to share with you as much information as I know, and I really hope that it will help you.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much. I'm sure it will. Over to Christian. Do you want to just say a quick hello? I'm really sorry I haven't put you on the slides because you weren't one of the speakers.
I'm Christian. I'm co-founder of ScaleForEtail. I'm an Amazon seller since 2013, I think. And yeah, I'm just interested to be here and to discover for myself some of the issues regarding Brexit. I'm the less chatty one, so that's why Shelley does the intros. And I'm here if anyone needs any help, anything. I'm off on the Facebook groups, and I do some consulting as well. So just reach out and we'll see if we can help.
Awesome. And one of the best speakers that we've got here today, Claire, let me pass over to you.
I'm sure the others wouldn't agree at all, and I don't agree. Thanks ever so much for inviting me, Shelley. Yeah, so I'm Claire Taylor, founder and CEO of simplyvat.com, and our aim is to help online retailers trade internationally, successfully and compliantly, and I'm here to try and help you navigate the challenging landscapes and bumps in the road that's coming over the next few months. And yeah, we're kind of gearing up to do all we can to help you guys. So yeah, I hope it's useful.
Good, great, thank you. Okay, so should we flick on to the next slide, Christian, where I'm just going to run through what the agenda is. And can we put that up in, like, can we make it the main picture? Oh, awesome. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to cover is what we're not going to cover. And that might sound quite confusing and weird, but obviously there's quite a lot that we don't yet know. There's a fair amount of detail that actually hasn't yet been worked out by either governments or authorities, as I'm sure you all know. So there are going to be some things that we're just really not going to be able to answer. And so I wanted to make that clear from the outset. We're then going to talk about all the stuff that can be done. Then we'll move on to, actually, this is the wrong way around. Sorry. We'll start off with banking, then freight forwarding and warehousing, and then taxation or VAT, which is Claire's session. And we're going to try and make this quite interactive so that you can ask lots of questions. So really the big part of this is the Q&A. Okay, on to the next one. So we're going to try not to cover politics today, although if I was sitting here with a beer, I'd be delighted to talk about that. And I'm sure there are lots of impassioned views, but, you know, that really would deflect from what we're trying to achieve, which is to help people understand how they're going to organize their business. We can't also talk about Amazon. I have invited Amazon in a number of different ways, to attend this session, but they're not ready to do so. They haven't got everything figured out. And I suspect that might be why we haven't got anyone here today from there. I'm going to keep trying, though, and I'm hoping the whole community will help me, because I'm going to propose something at the end of the session. We are not really going to go into too many of the details of how UK companies will handle Brexit. And that's simply because there are so many unanswered questions. And obviously we can't talk about trade deals because it doesn't look like we have many of them concluded, and certainly not the main one, which is the one with Europe. Okay, so that's off the agenda. Right, so what can be done and what can we talk about? And this is the way I approach the question. And the idea here is to make it, ooh, there's a weird thing that's come up on the slide deck. So this is how I approached the question when I was looking at this. So if you have set up a UK company, and it doesn't matter if you're a Brit or whether you're Chinese or whether you're an American, if you're operating your European operations through a UK company and using the Pan-EU FBA program or the EFN program as an Amazon seller, you're either going to have to wait until the trade deal with Europe is signed and agreed, or plan to trade on WTO terms. And Amazon have announced that the UK will no longer effectively be part of the Pan-EU program. And this means that any Pan-EU distribution of your inventory, whether it's through the FBA, Pan-EU FBA program, or indeed the EFN program, that is set to come to an end on the 31st of December. So that all begins to look very scary and very complicated, particularly for me as a small business owner. And I guess I reached the conclusion that, number one, I wasn't going to wait to find out about all of this stuff. And number two, it would probably add an awful lot of cost to continue to try and operate through the UK. So if we just hit the slide again, it should lead to a slideshow thing. Yeah. So the focus that we're going to really center in on today is the conclusion that I think that most of us are going to come to, and certainly the conclusion that I've come to, which is I'm going to have to set up a European company. And that seems like the simplest way to get around all of this, to operate as a European and then to try and continue to have the same kind of business model that I currently have, but just doing it from a different entity. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So the way to set up a European company is to sign up for e-residency in Estonia. I have to say, I love the Estonians, and I didn't know about this program 3 weeks ago. I think they are a wonderful country because they have essentially set up a digital residency program. Yes, we'll be sending out the slides. They've essentially set up a way for you to be a digital resident of Estonia. So it doesn't mean that you can all jump on a plane and go and live there. But it does mean that you can use this country in order to run your European business. It's very easy to sign up to Estonian e-residency, and I've put a little link at the bottom of the slide for everyone to do it. The most frustrating thing was cutting my images to, my passport image and all that. But literally, it would have taken me 10 minutes were it not for that. It's very, very fast and super easy. And when you're accepted, and it took about 4 weeks to be accepted because your application is actually read by the Estonian police. So when you're accepted, you get an email saying, go to your nearest embassy. And if you're in China, it would be in China. And if you're in the UK, it would be in London. And if you're in another country in America, it would be there. You just go to your nearest embassy and you collect your digital tools to be a digital resident. And then what you can do is go to a company formations expert. I've spoken to about 4 or 5 of them so far. I haven't found a company that I'm comfortable introducing to the ScaleForEtail community, but I will try and do that over the next few days. But in any event, they all offer pretty similar services. And the first thing they do is they set up the company for you. It normally only takes between 1 and 5 days. So again, super efficient, super digital, and not very onerous. They will provide you with your legal representative and a physical address in Estonia. And one of the things that I found is a lot of these companies will do a deal for the first year, but then really rack up the costs for the second year. So just watch out for that when you're looking at who you might go to as a provider. There is basically one obligation if you set up a company in Estonia, and that is to produce annual accounts. And again, this is another area where I've noticed that these companies really rack up the charges because they try and charge you for every bookkeeping entry you need to do to produce these annual accounts. And I've yet to find a provider where I think, you know, we can try and minimize that cost for people. So when I find them, I'll obviously introduce them to the community, but that's the only other thing to watch out for. I'll get to that question. And actually, if you place questions in the questions area, we'll deal with them really well afterwards. You don't actually pay any tax until you decide to give yourself dividends. If you keep your money in that company and you just use it to reinvest continually, then you don't pay any tax. The way you get your money out is through a dividend, and you will pay 20% on your dividend income. Unless you're going to set up an office or set up a warehouse in Estonia itself, which is unnecessary, you won't pay VAT there. So you don't need to register for VAT. And actually, the Estonian authorities will not allow you to unless you actually have a need for VAT registration in Estonia, because they are trying to minimize the burden of extra admin where it's unnecessary. You must have a European bank account, and that must be in the name of this new company that you set up. So let's say your business is called, you know, the Shelley Simone group of companies. I'll just have one in the UK and one in Europe under my based in Estonia. You must get an European I can never say this, EORI. You must get one of those. So the one that you might have for your UK company will only allow you to trade using the UK company. You will need to set up a new one for your Estonian company. And you will also need Claire's services to get your VAT registrations in the other European countries for this particular European entity of yours. But the good news is that if you are doing EFN as I am, I'm not on the Pan-EU program, so I'm using the European Fulfillment Network program, which means that I still have not reached the distance selling thresholds, although I was getting close in France. So now I get to start all over and rebuild my income and my turnover up to the new distance selling thresholds, because I will only be counting the inventory and the sales that are going through my European company to my European non-UK customers. I hope that all makes sense. And I know there are loads of questions coming in because I can see that, but I'm trying to focus on talking. So I'm going to just move on and we'll deal with all of the Q&A at the end. So what's my next slide? I don't know. What is it? Oh, yeah. So here's how I visualize how the flow of goods is going to work. When I order from my supplier in China, I will order and pay for my order with two different companies. So I will probably produce an order for everything I need more or less on the continent of Europe and the UK, but I will pay for part of it separately for the UK. So that my UK company will buy a portion of that order, ship it to the UK, sell it to the UK customer. And then my Estonian company will buy the rest of the order. I'm going to choose to ship it to Germany. You can choose to ship it to any other European country you prefer. But I have chosen Germany because most of my sales outside of the UK are in Germany. There's quite a bit going to France, but I don't know. Claire might tell me I've made the wrong decision, but I've chosen Germany. And that's going to be sold by an EFN program, I hope, that Amazon will set up for me, allowing me to do it through Germany. I'm not sure that that will be possible because that's the bit where Amazon isn't here. But if it is, that's how I'm going to do it. And if it isn't, I have yet to figure out quite what to do. But I believe that that will probably be a possibility for Amazon sellers. And so that's how I think I'm going to do it. Okay, so that's it from me. That's just the journey that I'm going through. There are lots of things that we don't know yet, as I said at the start. I hope this seems logical to people. It seemed logical to me. You can, of course, continue to operate as you are and just using your UK company. And I'm sure there'll be questions about that and we can deal with that later. But I've chosen to go down this route. Okay, so I think the next slide leads us on to Nathan's session. So let's go on to there, shall we?
Before we do that, we'll say to people, we'll let everyone present their pieces, then we'll do all the questions together because I think some of the presentations may cover some of the questions. So we're just going to keep going through all the presentations. We will get to all the questions. So keep posting them in the questions tab of the presentation on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, Nathan, over to you.
Hello, guys. Morning again. Once again, thank you, Shelley, for having us, and thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. As I said, my name is Nathan Fox, and I work for Payoneer. Been at Payoneer for about 2 years now. What Payoneer is the leading payment solution, for e-commerce sellers, mainly selling on marketplaces. In terms of size, we've got 21 offices worldwide, over 1,500 employees, and last year alone, we had a throughput of about $30 billion of client funds. So if you do choose to use us, your money is very safe and very secure. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I know most of you are aware, but for those of you who aren't aware of what you can get when you become a Payoneer customer, is you get access to a global network of bank accounts individually and unique to your very own business. As we've just heard, if you are to go down the route of setting up a bank account or setting up a company, in Estonia, you will need a Euro bank account, and through Payoneer is one of the routes you can do to get that very, very quickly and very easily. So we've got a list of the currency accounts that we do operate in. So, pounds, euros, and dollars are standard, but that also expands to Canada, Australia, Japan, Mexico, Hong Kong, China. We also have Singapore. AED is coming, as well as in Sweden. I know they've just opened up Amazon Sweden as well. So we will be accommodating for that as well for you guys. But the main benefit is you get local bank accounts. Especially in the post-Brexit world, this is going to become even more imperative. No one knows what's going to happen with the exchange rates as yet. So you want to hold that currency locally, decide what you do with it. If you want to pay out locally or send your money to China, you want to do that in the most effective and low-cost way. And the ways you can receive funds are from your marketplaces such as Amazon, eBay, your other business clients, or your payment gateways. And as I said, you can withdraw those back to your UK or European hubs, or make payments out to your suppliers. If we go to the next slide. So here's just a quick mock-up of what some of you might be doing. So say you're selling internationally on Amazon, either in Europe or the States or further afield, and you're getting all that money from Amazon sent back to your UK bank account. If this is your current method, Amazon are currently charging up to 4% to convert any foreign currency for you, which in today's market is very, very expensive. With Payoneer, we start at least half that, and we have special rates for ScaleForEtail members, as well as a $100 thank you for signing up. But the main thing that we try to avoid here is you guys having to do double conversions. So for instance, say you receive euros from Amazon, they go into a UK bank account, so you've experienced a 4% exchange rate potentially, and then from your UK bank account, you pay your supplier abroad, and your bank might charge between 4 and 6% to do that. So all in all, you've lost about 10% in your conversions, when really it could be a fraction of that, a fifth, if not up to an eighth. So you can really save on that. Additionally, we've got an integrated platform into all of the European VAT authorities, so you can make payments to VAT authorities for free using the euros that you collect, and that again is going to be a very big cost saver. And again, there's no charge for that. We can also pay into the Czech Republic and Poland if you have any VAT obligations over there. Next slide, please. And finally, this is just a kind of a general overview of everything that Payoneer can offer. So as mentioned, we give you local bank accounts to receive from your e-commerce marketplaces, payment gateways, or your business clients. You can also top up your account with your existing funds. So let's say you have a wholesale business or a UK website, and you want to load pounds into your Payoneer account so you can experience that better exchange rate and pay your foreign suppliers. You can do it that way. We've also recently launched a working capital product, which I know a lot of you have actually used thus far. So we can give you an instant advance on your Amazon earnings on your UK or US stores, up to 100% of your monthly turnover. And we can go up as high as 250K. And that comes at a very low and flat fixed fee of in and around 3%. So as a key example, let's say you took out £10,000 as a total cost, that would cost you, £300. So especially in this time, if you're looking to ramp up for Q4 or expand to new marketplaces or do some additional ad spend for the holidays and Black Friday, this would be a good time to maybe look into that. And once funds in your account are said, you can pay your VAT, you get a MasterCard to spend on the account, you can pay your suppliers, you can withdraw to your bank. We have integrations with Xero and QuickBooks. So we really just try to create the perfect end-to-end solution, a one-stop shop for e-commerce sellers. And yeah, happy to take any questions at the end. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan. Just I'll add two things to that. One is that payments from Payoneer accounts to Payoneer accounts are free. So if we end up with a UK entity and an Estonian entity, both of which have their own Payoneer accounts, sending money between those two entities would be free of charge. So you wouldn't be paying any percentage when moving money from one company's Payoneer account to another company's Payoneer account. And the second thing is there's no monthly fee for these Payoneer accounts. So if you set them up and the volumes are low because you're setting things up now to use the company later, then that's fine, because you're not going to be charged until they actually until money's actually moving. You get paid for the money, the commission on the money. Okay.
And just to add as well, Christian, as you know, we have a great account management team as well. So they're to help on hand more or less 24/7 via phone, email, and WhatsApp. A lot of you find that really useful to not only help with your payments but also help with your global expansion.
Yeah, and the account management team is excellent. They really. I think some of these companies you worry that you're just going to have some support chat thing with somebody in the third world, but with Payoneer you have a proper account manager, so it does work very well. Okay, next section is going to be freight and warehouse. So Alex, are you ready to take stage?
Yes, of course. Hi, everybody. As I said, my name is Alexander Friedman. I represent company VAPI. VAPI is fulfillment and courier service IT aggregator all over the Europe. As you see, UK is not in the blue color yet now, and this is the main issue. I'll continue from what said Shelley. What happens next when you have established your Estonian company, and after you've got a VAT number in European countries and got the EORI number. I already answered in the questions section what is it EORI number. It is needed first of all for the customs clearance. So when you've got the company in Estonia, the next point where it is logical to bring your goods is Germany, as Shelley said, and as we discussed at my webinar 2 weeks ago. So the main ships from China come to main ports of Europe. One of them is Hamburg. So your goods can come to Hamburg. It can be full container load, or it can be less than container load. We can help you to clear the customs there for your Estonian company, and then we can bring your goods to the pre-FBA warehouse. We have several warehouses in Germany, but we suggest our Munich warehouse. When the goods are there, you've got actually several possibilities. You can send your goods to the Amazon warehouse. So we are actually, so that you understand, we are building the system for 5 years already, and for 5 years we're flying all over the Europe, integrating warehouses and courier services. But before that, it was mainly focused on fulfilled by VAPI all over for sellers, so that you can use our system in Spain, in France, in Germany, everywhere you want, and fully outsource it. And this year we are adjusting all our system, especially for Amazon sellers. This year to our team joined CEO, a person who was building also like Amazon selling company for 5 years, and they have reached 8 figures. So they're very big, and he's now with us, and we together combine our knowledge and experience to build everything, all the business processes, so that the work through pre-FBA VAPI service would go smooth at your company. So when you are storing goods at our Munich warehouse, first of all, the benefit you get is the storage. So you don't have very strict restrictions about the time of the storage, months, 2 months, 3 months. Then you have automated integration to send LTL or drip feeds to Amazon that you need, or you can send directly from this warehouse parcels to your clients in Germany or in France using fulfilled by VAPI. These are the options that you get when you work with VAPI. Why Germany? Why Germany? Because first, I already said that Germany is a country where the main ships come. So we are trying to lower the freight cost from China. The best cost will be to Germany. And then from Germany, DHL is very, very well working with sending parcels all over the Europe. So Germany is in the middle, and you have possibility to fast move your goods from German warehouse to the other countries. According to EFN program, again, you can choose not EFN, but fulfilled by VAPI, or fulfilled, you choose FBM, and then you can use our rates to move some goods to Spain warehouse, or to French warehouse, or to Italy warehouse. You don't need to send a lot. not a truck. You can send several boxes if you don't have huge amount of sales in Spain, but you'll instantly, when you make one integration to all our system, you can choose the warehouses. So you can choose that the main warehouse yours will be in Germany, and you can send a little bit to Austria, a little bit to Poland, some maybe you developed Spain, and you send more there. And also what you get when you're working through pre-FBA IT aggregator like we are, you get very huge benefit to work on a multi-channel sales. So if you develop more in years and you go to other marketplaces or to other sales channels, you instantly have got the fulfillment network that you can use. So we agree with Shelley that it is right way to establish an Estonian company, to get the VAT number, to get the URI number, then send goods directly from China to Germany, not through UK and then to Germany, because we will have a lot of issues with double customs clearance and double VAT, and we don't have a 100% answer on this question. So when you send directly from China to Germany, 100% you will not pay double VAT or double customs clearance. You send it there and integrate to our WAPI system, and you're prepared to do the job. Then just boost your sales, and you're ready. Shelley, I think that's all on the general presentation.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just go back one slide? So and this has come up. So when you say you can do self-fulfillment, that means you can take a product out of the main shipping case and you can send it to the customer. So you have that ability to do that, right?
Yeah, we have the possibility. We can call it FBW. Fulfilled by WAPI. So if you need it, it is automated. You just you create this sale. It is sent to our system, and in very short time, it is fulfilled and sent to the customer directly in Germany or into other countries of European Union. It is everything already done.
Okay. Or alternatively, you just get a notification. Again, we go into your system when we say send 10 boxes into Amazon. Here are the labels, and you guys just send it out. So
Amazon has a number of warehouses in Germany. So if you are in PAN-EU program, which you just send us an order to send a pallet or two or drip feed to Amazon Germany warehouse, and we're doing it.
Okay, cool, lovely, excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. Next up, we have Claire from Simply Vat, our founder of Simply Vat, to talk through the VAT implications. Over to you, Claire.
Yeah, thanks, Christian. So I am founder of simplyvat.com. Do you want to go into the next slide, Christian? So as Shelley has always, well, everybody knows, we're not going to be part of the EU, and the UK is separate, and that's the way Amazon is looking at the fulfillment centres as well, very much separate. So once Brexit happens, the those of you on European Fulfillment Network by Amazon will not be able to, or Amazon will not fulfill those orders from UK stock. And what this means for those of you with your stock in the UK, you won't be able to leverage the distance selling thresholds from the UK. They stop dead on the 31st of December. And also with the PAN-EU service that some of you guys are using, there are going to be no stock transfers between the UK PAN-EU fulfillment warehouses and the EU. So in terms of the VAT implications and what you're going to need to think about, if you can go to the next slide, Christian, Yeah, and the next, if you bring the bullet points down. So when you are importing into the EU, when the UK has left the EU, your goods are going to be exported from the UK, so they're going to be zero rated from the UK, but you're going to hit import charges going into the EU, both import VAT and duty. So you have to decide when your goods are going in, who the importer of record is going to be. And this is important because the importer of record is who is responsible to pay the import VAT. So either it can be the customer, which isn't always the best customer experience. So when you're sending goods direct to a customer and the customer is responsible for the VAT, when the goods hit the customs, the EU border, your courier company, probably DHL or somebody, is going to get in touch with your customer and say you need to pay us another 20 euros to release those goods, to pay the VAT on those goods. So it's not the best customer experience. The customer may even leave those goods in the customs depot because the additional import charges might have negated why they bought from you in the first place, which may very well have been price. So it's not a good customer experience. So you may want to become the importer of record, and this means you'll need a VAT registration in the country of arrival. Next point, Christian. Thank you. As everyone's alluded to, you're going to need a new EU EORI number. The current UK one will not be valid. So you do need to get a secondary EORI number, and this can be obtained. Also, the other thing you need to think about, and this is, I'll go on in a minute, but when in some EU countries, they require non-EU companies to use fiscal reps. Now, a fiscal rep is jointly liable for the VAT owed. So because of this additional risk, it may add additional costs. Bank guarantees, for example, may have to be put in place so the fiscal rep doesn't feel exposed. Now, in terms of you guys using Pan-EU, this is going to be relevant in countries where you've got VAT registrations such as Italy and Poland. Also, places like the Netherlands, Belgium, and I think Nathan was talking about Amazon expanding into Sweden. Sweden's another country which needs fiscal representation. The good news, a little present from the French. The French usually require fiscal representation from non-EU companies, but they've actually waived this for UK businesses. So that is good news. There won't be additional costs there. If you go on to the next slide, Christian. So just looking at, from a VAT point of view, UK company versus opening up an EU company. I think Alex kind of said before, I don't know if it was prior to the presentation, but as a non-EU company, you can still get VAT registrations in EU countries. You can put your stock, say, in Germany, and still leverage the distance selling rules from that one location of stock in that country. When the UK leaves the EU, you're going to need the fiscal reps in some EU countries, and you're going to lose the distance selling threshold kind of benefits from the UK. If you press the next point. So if you open up an EU company, there's no need for the fiscal representations. And I think that's a big bonus. I think you need to weigh that up against the cost of setting up an EU company and everything else, but it probably will be much more cost effective. But as I said, as a non-EU company, if you are a UK company, you can still set up the registrations within the EU without having to set up a company. Just depends how you want to work. Yeah, so that's what I've got at the moment. So we can go on to questions, maybe, Shelley.
Yep. Sorry, I had my mic switched off. So if we just flip to the Q&A slide and start working through the questions, Christian normally runs this, so I'm going to let him follow tradition here. And I suggest what we do is we direct the questions to whoever is going to be holding their hand up to answer it. So Christian, do you want to go through that?
Sure.
Start at the bottom and work
Let
our
me, I'm actually going to start at the top because it's kind of top of mind. So fiscal representation, Claire, does that mean you'd have to have a single fiscal representative in one country, or you'd have to have separate fiscal representation in every country that needs it?
Yeah, you need a separate fiscal rep in each country that requires it. So in Italy, you need an Italian fiscal rep. In Poland, you need a Polish fiscal rep, etc. But not all countries need it. Germany, for example, they don't require fiscal representation, but others do. And that's one reason why it's a good reason to set up, to import into Germany.
If you try and sell in Europe as a UK-based entity, you're going to need fiscal representation in several of the countries where you're currently paying VAT because of pan-EU. But if you have a EU-based company, because you're already based in the EU, you don't have to have a fiscal representation anywhere else in the EU.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the guys online are UK at the moment, there's no need for fiscal representation in any country using pan-EU, but that stops overnight at the end of the year.
And the fiscal rep is finding a partner company to work with, or is it possible to set those up? I mean, do you provide that, or is there other service providers that can do that for people that want to do it?
Yeah, we partner with fiscal reps, so that's something that we can help with because we obviously work with non-EU sellers now. So we have a network of fiscal reps that will be able to help with that, and we've been working really hard to try and get those costs down as well.
Okay, let me just mark that as answered. Okay, I guess the big one is why set up an EU company at all? As an EU company already on Pan EU, we can get an EU EORI number and then import directly from China to the EU. So Claire just alluded to there the issue of needing fiscal representation. Does anybody else have other reasons why they think that an EU-based company is better than trying to trade as a UK-based company?
Well, I've obviously concluded that it's much better for me to just set up a European company. It's extremely cheap to do so through Estonia. It's not actually adding an awful lot of cost. And my hope, some of these questions relate to Amazon, what Amazon are going to allow us to do. My hope is that we will be able to have the facility to set up a different company entity for, say, the German account and to run the EU out of the German account. And actually, one of the things I wanted to say to everybody here is my plan is to send a letter to Amazon. I'd like to do an open letter signed for or signed by everyone in the community, suggesting that that is the most sensible solution, because one of the simplest solutions for us is to do this Estonian thing and then to be able to say, here's my Estonian company, and this is covering all my activity in the European countries. And now you know who the chicken to choke is, and you also know what my UK entity is. And they should allow that for any seller who has set up their European network and operations through a UK company to date. And that would accommodate Americans, it would accommodate anybody at all, but particularly the British.
Okay. The other thing I think is there's some questions around liability and needing some kind of EU-based entity for liability. I don't know the details around that, but I've heard several people talking about that as another reason why after January you're going to need to have an EU-based entity. Okay, next we've got.
Can I just ask that everybody puts questions in the question area? It's so much easier if they're all in that one place, and it'll allow us to answer them all.
At the top, there's a chat tab and there's a questions tab, and I'm going to work through the questions tab. And if we have time, I'll go back to the chat window. But right now, I'm only looking at questions. So if you want a question to be seen, please put it in the questions tab. Okay, Wappy, do you do prep? I think the answer to that is quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Some questions from Tony.
Yeah, I'm not. I was muted, so I started to answer. So yes, full cycle of manufacture to FBA, including freight, truck, custom storage, boxes, pallets, prep for FBA, and boxes, pallets, shipping to FBA across EU.
As well as shipping to customers for FBW.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So actually, the question, Tony, I think we've answered those already, Tony. If you have a follow-up, then please post another question. Alex, you're going to type in answer. There's a question about the service of WAPI. Are you offering the service to ship products from Japan and other Southeast Asian countries to Europe and the UK?
Yeah, I'm sending send answer. Yes, we can help you with this. Send us an email and we will do it. I was just finishing this one.
That's fine. It's useful to go through them by voice because the replay people don't always get the chat window. So.
Okay.
I'm German and might be able to set up a company in Germany easily. Can I still use WAPI to clear customs and use their warehouse facilities in Germany? The answer from Alex is yes, of course.
Yes, of course, because it doesn't matter for where company is settled. If it is settled in European Union and it has VAT number and EORI number, we can clear the customs for you.
Alex, we have information that if you're a non-EU company importing into Germany, you need an indirect representative at customs. And the EU companies don't?
It means, as I know, you need it. If you don't have the EORI, if you don't have it, then somebody has to take responsibility for the goods that comes to Europe. If you've got it, or if you're checked, you can do it without a fiscal representative. But I need to check this one out to be 100% sure, okay? So that everybody would hear that you also have to check this one.
Yeah. I'll talk to you afterwards about it, and then maybe we can issue information through Shelley.
Yeah. We should add the letter, like for everybody to answer this question 100% correct because it's important.
Yeah, and we will of course post follow-ups to this on our Facebook group. So again, if people haven't joined yet, then please do join the community.
Yeah, and also let me just add one more thing, which is that we might decide to run another session on this particular subject, perhaps a little bit nearer the time. Perhaps if there's much more information that is available, it might be a good time to do a V2 of this. So please don't feel like this is it. This is probably the start of a very long and impassioned kind of area and topic. And we'll also try and make sure that we get all of the information to the community as we can.
Okay. Question from Samesh about company structure. He says, while we understand the EU entity has to be done, is it best to work with setting up a subsidiary of the UK company? Sorry, a subsidiary of the UK company in the EU, or is it best to have a completely independent entity in parallel, or possibly even, I guess, the UK company could be a subsidiary of the new EU company? Any recommendations for that?
Yes. So I did cover that off with. So I've spoken to 4 company formations experts. I haven't appointed one yet because, like I said, I'm still going through my own process of discovery. But I have asked that question 4 times over. And the answer that I have received unanimously is do not run it as a subsidiary of your UK entity, tempting though that might seem. And the reason is because there are so many still unanswered questions about the status of the UK residents or UK companies with regard to Europe, it's probably not a great idea. The other answer to that is that would add a lot more complexity and cost. Whereas if you look at what most of these companies offer, they have some kind of deal packages. set up your European company in like 2 minutes. And so you wouldn't benefit from those deal packages. It's very easy to say that your Estonian company is linked to you. You can give it the same name as your UK company so that Amazon knows that it's obviously owned by the same kind of entity. It'll be owned by you, so you are still the main account holder, let's say, for your business, and you will end up being the single shareholder of your Estonian company. And so it's super simple, very digital, very practical as a solution if you keep things entirely separate and simple. The other benefit, now there may be a benefit of putting your UK entity under your Estonian one. That is a question I haven't really worked through. I imagine that's going to require a little bit of more expert hand-holding and advice on behalf of these companies. And I would suggest that you take a look at doing that, but maybe not as your first entry point into this exercise. You do it subsequently. But on just with regard to the Estonian entity, so I think there's a question about this somewhere. What is the company tax on Estonian entities? So Estonia is a wonderful country. Seriously, you guys, you must go and discover it. They only tax you when you take money out of the company.
There's no annual corporation tax, just to clarify. You don't pay a tax on your profit.
Correct.
You just actually take money.
Yes, and that's when you take money out of the company. So if you were to transfer money from the company to your supplier or to pay for anything, and there may even be a mechanism where if you transferred it to your UK entity, that might not be considered to be taxable. I think that's quite a detailed question you'd need to ask. But as long as you are keeping it in a company wrapper, you're not paying anything. The way to pay yourself and to remove money is through a company dividend. And when you do that, you pay 20% tax on that money that has been paid to you as a dividend. Clearly, there are going to be other issues when you sell companies, and I won't go into that right now. That's too complicated. So when I looked at this whole question, it seemed to me very logical that I would start off by setting up the Estonian entity separately. There is a risk. They have highlighted this to me. One of the accountants I spoke to did mention that there may be a risk that the UK will come after us for the profit in the Estonian company. They certainly will do that if it's a subsidiary, by the way, but they will find it much harder to do if it's a separate company. But there is a risk that the UK government will eventually come after us for that. But the benefit is that's not automatic. The way you report your income in the UK will be minus the Estonian stuff, i.e. minus all the European stuff.
Yeah, and I think that in some ways answers the question from Adam. He asked the question regarding tax, even though it's a foreign company, would we have to pay UK corporation tax, perhaps on the economic activity that generates profit in the UK? And to me, I think the thing there is to remember that you're separating them out. So your Estonian company would be the one selling in Europe, and the UK company, you'd keep the UK company, the UK company would be the one selling in the UK. So in theory, there shouldn't be any UK profits, UK economic activity for the Estonian company. So if you keep things that way, then there's no reason why the UK government should try and go after your Estonian company for tax, because none of its activity is based in the UK. And that's my amateur understanding. I'm not an accountant, and I'm not qualified for that, but that's my personal understanding of how that works. Yeah, exactly. That's what's been laid out for me. Okay. Let's scan these questions.
There are just so many coming in.
Is this advice just for PANI-U and EFN? What if you're a UK business that sells in Germany, France, and Spain and are not enrolled in PANI-U or EFN? Well, the question for you, Nick, would be, how are you currently selling in those countries if you're not shipping using EFN or PANI-U? Because your stock has to get from the UK to the customer somehow. This is a question I'm struggling with myself because I sell a lot of wholesale products. So we buy branded products wholesale and sell them in Europe. And at the moment, those sales are quite opportunistic. We sell 500 different products, and we don't know which ones of them are going to sell in Europe. So it's going to be very difficult logistically for me to think, okay, I'll send one of these and 5 of these and one of those and one of those into Europe so that then fulfillable to European customers. But at the moment we use PanEU and it just works. But then there's a big change coming on the 1st of January. So I guess the follow-up question to you is how are you currently selling, and then you can better understand what we'd need to change later. Okay.
I'm just going to answer Ian's question very quickly because he's brought it up. So if you take dividends, i.e. personal income from your Estonian company, then yes, you are liable for that, and you should be reporting it through your self-assessment. In fact, the UK taxes us as individuals on our worldwide income. So if you were earning on a property in Spain or a property in New York, if you had one of those and you were doing Airbnb, all of that would be classed as your income and you would be taxed on that. It doesn't matter where it is in the world. But the difference is with regard to corporation tax, that there isn't any ability for the UK to charge corporation tax on a company in Estonia unless they set up a new law to do so.
Okay, quick question from David. Shelley mentioned that we need to have an EU bank account. Will my UK bank account suffice, or do I have to open an account in Europe? I think the point there is that if you're setting an Estonian company, a new European company, that new entity needs to have its own bank account. And Payoneer can help with some of that. I'm not.
No, let me just correct this. You don't need an Estonian bank account. You need a European bank account registered to the Estonian company, and Payoneer can give you that.
Yeah. And Payoneer can. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey Nathan, Payoneer questions.
Yeah, sorry, my internet's not great today, so the camera's got to be off.
Can Payoneer provide the basic bank account bank accounts that an Estonian company would need to be able to operate?
Yes, definitely. So currently we've got bank accounts in Europe, both in Germany and in Ireland. So Wirecard in Germany, but we also have Citibank accounts operating out of Ireland.
Okay, and those can be used as day-to-day bank accounts?
Yes, those can be used as the bank accounts needed for the Estonian authorities. Yes, you can kill two birds with one stone with that.
Okay, there's another question for Payoneer just up here. Give me a second. Where is it going? Does Payoneer offer a credit card with a reward scheme, air miles, or cashback? I think I know the answer.
Christian, yeah, you definitely know the answer to that one. So the Payoneer card is a MasterCard debit card, basically, that is linked to your Payoneer balance. So effectively, you could just spend whatever you have on the card as a balance, either in-store or online. Unfortunately, there are no reward schemes, no air miles, but it is something that we've considered, and it might be something that we look for in the future.
So just to clarify, the upside is you don't have to convert currency. So if you're buying things in dollars, I don't know, for suppliers or for web hosting or subscriptions, Helium 10, whatever, then you're paying in dollars from your dollar balance, so you don't have to do any currency conversion. So you're saving any conversion fees by using the Payoneer card. So that's the convenience and the benefit of using the card.
Yeah, and just to add on that, you can have a physical card, but you can also have multiple virtual cards, and they have a spending balance up to $100,000 a month. So you can use that for your ad spend, your Facebook ads, your Google ads, as well as your regular paying your suppliers as well.
Okay. There's several questions about how to manage Amazon accounts, and will we have to set up a new account? Or how does that work? The short answer is we can't answer that at the moment. That's partly what Shelley alluded to about this open letter she wants to write, is to help nudge Amazon towards making this easy to do using our existing account. But at the moment, we don't know exactly how it's going to work, or if what you're going to have to do. So we're going to have to miss those questions out. Okay, so just to reiterate, I guess, this question from Andrew. So when the transition period ends on the 1st of January, do we have to register in an EU country, or can we distance trade and just register for VAT in Europe? You want to people just reiterate the answer to clarify?
Yeah, so if you want to put your, you can either take your send your get VAT registered in the first country where your goods going into the EU and VAT register there. Maybe put your stock, say somewhere like Germany, and then leverage your distance selling thresholds that you can send from the UK and be VAT registered from the UK.
Okay.
You can be VAT registered with an EU country, but from your UK company is what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question from Peter or Pete. What would be the plan for stock currently on hand? Would the EU company have to buy it from the UK company in order to sell it? And the short answer is probably, I think. Do you have any?
I think that's probably a question for your accountant. But Claire, do you have a view on that? Would you have a perspective?
Yeah, if you should sell, I can confirm this, but my initial thoughts are you would need to sell the stock between the two companies. You would need to do a transfer of ownership for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess the bigger question is, if you still have stock when it comes to January the 1st, what happens to the stock linked to the old company? And I think and to me personally, that's part of the reason why we're doing this webinar now in August, so that you can try and plan for that and try and, if you're going to switch to an EU entity, try and run down your UK company stock and then restock into the European entity, so that you don't have that problem of having leftover stock in the UK company when it comes to the 1st of January.
Yeah, absolutely. So my plan will be that I will bring everything to the UK that I need for Q4, but everything I need for Q1, I will ship directly to the Estonian, using the Estonian vehicle entity into Germany, into WAPI's warehouse. And I will only allow the UK to have as much as I need for UK consumers. So I'm already beginning to plan what inventory I might ship out of the UK into Europe if I have excess in December prior to the end date, so that I'm shipping it as a European company to my European entity, if you like, prior to all of this happening. I won't be doing anything out of the UK. That's my choice, obviously, from the 1st of January 2021 into Europe, unless, of course, we get a magical trade deal tomorrow and that solves some of my issues.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, question from Michael Stewart. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. Panny, so what's your thoughts on sending lots of stock in before the 31st of December so it gets sent around the EU before that date? Something like a year's worth of stock. I don't think it's going to work because you've got a couple of problems. First is that your legal, and your tax and your legal position regarding the UK entity in the EU is the first question we're trying to deal with here. The second is that your pan-EU stock is going to be cut off from the UK. So even if it's in Europe and moving around, then you don't have the ability to ship from Europe, the EU, after the 1st of January into the UK and vice versa. So I don't really think I don't see how that helps you. I mean, if you want to post a follow-up question, then please do, but I don't really see how that would help. But it's a nice idea for how to game the system. I don't think it's going to work. It's going to be useful. Okay.
So there's a couple of questions here that might indicate some confusion. There's one from Stephanie, who's got a VAT number in Germany registered for her UK company. And does this mean I need to set up a new EU company in Germany and register this with a new VAT number? So Stephanie, I wouldn't set up in Germany unless you're German and you're indicating by your name that you may be. But I would only set up a German company in Germany if I was German. if I'm a Brit, I would set it up in Estonia. But yes, my Estonian company is going to have to go to Simply VAT and say, can you now set up the VAT number for the Estonian entity? And we will stop using the VAT number for Germany, for the UK entity.
I think the other thing as well, if you're selling in Germany and you've got a German VAT number under the UK company, that's going to be valid. Just, depends who else you're selling to within the EU to see that is valid after Brexit. You don't need to set up an EU company.
So the lack of fiscal representation needed in Germany?
No.
Okay. A couple of questions about fiscal reps. Do you have any ballpark figure how much a fiscal rep would cost? There's a particular thing about Czech Republic and Poland from Meninda, and there's a general question from Anthony.
Yeah, as I said, we're kind of trying to drive the fiscal rep costs down, and we're working on that pricing at the moment. So we'll release that as soon as it's finalised. I don't want to share at the moment because it's, you know what I mean. We're trying to do the best so it doesn't impact the prices that people are already paying.
Okay. You don't want to give the current kind of top price you're trying to negotiate down from? That's fine.
Yeah, at the moment, it's kind of looking maybe, I don't say because I don't want to scare people off. So we're really doing our best to kind of solve that problem and make sure it doesn't impact people. So I really don't want to, yeah.
I think people don't understand that it could be very expensive. So they're thinking, I'm imagining people are thinking ahead, why go through all this hassle of setting up the EU-based company when I could just get fiscal reps? But yeah, it's going to be expensive. So.
Yeah, it's around the £1,500 mark at the moment per country. But that's something, as I said, we're trying to drive down for different solutions that we're working hard on.
Do you have a partner in Estonia, by the way, Claire?
Do we have
a partner in Estonia?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, actually. I'll find out for you, Shelley.
Yeah, I mean, that might solve some of the issues around that, actually.
Well, yeah, you need the fiscal reps in country. So that's what we're working closely with partners to try and bring that cost down, and talking actually to our insurance company to take some of that liability as well. So we're looking kind of, out the box at how we solve this for people. But it's work in progress, and it was, it's been such a challenging landscape, and nobody, we didn't know if we're going to get a deal. We still don't know. It's all a little bit up in the air. So everybody's kind of just working around looking for solutions without exactly knowing what the problem might be.
Claire, you were talking about the partner in Estonia. So now you have one, because WAPI is registered in Estonia. And we know everything about it.
Okay, perfect. I do want to talk to you anyway. We've got would love to use your services, Alex, as well.
Okay.
Okay, so Alex, are you saying you could provide fiscal representation? Are you licensed to do that?
No, of course we're not, but we know the companies who are doing it because we're here. We're in the Baltic states. Latvia is a neighbor of Estonia, so we can, give our knowledge, share our knowledge with you. That's what we can do on this topic.
Yeah. Well, most of the company formation experts that I have spoken to have. Some of them have that licensed fiscal representation capability. Most of them do, actually, but one or two of them didn't. So that's the only thing to watch out for.
No, sorry, I didn't understand your question. I thought you were talking about the company registration and the VAT issue. If you're saying about customs fiscal representative, again, WAPI is an IT aggregator. We every month, every quarter, we add new partners, and we have warehouses with customs bonded areas, with fiscal representatives license. So we always choose the right solution, integrate it in our system. And the main thing is that we give you one product, one service, you integrate it, and you've got all the services already included.
Okay.
So the answer will be yes. If we need it, it will be in the system. But I'm not sure now at this point, and I have just discussed with my colleagues, I'm not sure that you need it, because if you've got the URI number, it means that your company was checked and you just put what in the process of custom clearance, this number of EORI is put inside, and that's it. I'm not sure that you will need fiscal representative.
I think this is still developing, and no one's yet clear. I mean, I found out in the last couple of hours that you may not need to have an EU-based company. There's Claire's dog, so taking over the show.
Yeah, sounds lovely.
Okay, so
there's Anthony's just pointed out that the UK will come after your EU income and will want its corporation tax from that entity. And he believes that's the law. I'll be honest, I haven't quite worked out every detail with my own accounting firm. So I'm not as clear on that as you are, but obviously if it's the law, then that's going to apply. One of the Estonian companies did say that that was a very distinct possibility. So I suspect that's probably correct, and that you would still be liable for that. But
also,
I think we'll check that and come back to everyone with a definitive.
Also, I'm sorry, I want to add, in general, so it is correct to say to everybody that today there are companies not from EU that don't have European entities. They have just EORI numbers and VAT numbers, and they are working in Europe, and they're working with Amazon. For example, Chinese companies. So if after Brexit, UK will be like for European Union, like the same as China or United States, probably the scheme of work must be the same. And it means that probably you will have possibility to work without an Estonian company. The thing is, how I hear Shelley is that if you choose this way, you still have risk options that we just don't know right away.
Yeah.
Oh, lost you in the middle of your sentence, Alex.
Oh, I think Alex might need to log out and log back in again.
Yeah.
But Alex is right. You do have, I'm not taking away your option to continue to trade as a UK entity. I'm just saying that I've worked through some of this and come up with a different answer that may or may not suit what everybody else wants to do. And it's ultimately your own decision, you're all business owners. This is the path that I am seriously exploring and looking at and will probably go down.
Yeah, my understanding, until I was talking with Alex earlier before this call started, was that you would have to set up in Europe because there are some rules in Europe about you're not meant to trade in Europe unless you have an EU-based entity somewhere. And until now, we've had that because our UK business is an EU-based entity, but then after transition, that changes. So maybe we don't need to set up anything new, but there still may be benefits to doing it, and it still may be the best part. So that's going to evolve over time.
Sorry, Alex, you got cut off mid-sentence.
Yeah.
You were just talking.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Some issue with the internet, sorry.
Okay. Do you want to continue that point, Alex? Or because you were saying that you do have the option to just continue as you were, right? Is that what you were referring to?
I'm not saying that choose this option. I just am saying that people research and there is such option. Maybe there will be sellers who will choose it, but it will be their responsibility. I'm just saying that there probably 100% will be such companies that will work without the Estonian entity. But I'm not going to take responsibility now in saying that this is the right way. I'm just saying that there is this option.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Someone suggested we all move to Monaco. I'm really up for that. That was my plan before I realized I'm not rich enough. Anyway, keep going.
You're not rich enough for Monaco. Okay, question from Jim about tax. So if you make a product in the UK and then send them from the UK to Europe, will you have to pay important duties? My understanding is that yes, whenever goods cross the UK-EU border, then VAT and duty will be payable. Is that correct, as far as everyone knows?
Yeah. Yeah, post-Brexit, yeah.
Okay, and then there's a similar question from Colleen saying that she's a UK-based shop using print-on-demand fulfillment supply based in Latvia, which I think is probably Printful from the top of my head, selling only to the UK. How will she be affected? Now, I'm guessing that the items she's sending are fairly low values. Do we know yet if there's going to be a value threshold below which VAT and duty will not be charged on imports, or don't we know?
Post-Brexit, they're actually abolishing the low value relief program, which was
every order will have to get taxed.
So anything coming in under the value of £135, the seller will have to account for the VAT, so we'd have to get a registration. So that's what they're bringing in. HMRC just issued a notice, I think on the 20th of July, with information on that. So we're working through that at the moment. But it looks like you would need a VAT registration to get the goods into the UK under
in the UK to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it just means that you're going to be paying VAT on the UK VAT on the set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're abolishing the low value consignment because there was a lot of goods flying in under the radar. So yeah, it's going.
Okay, I mean, Colleen, just also on print on demand, it's something I'm looking at myself at the moment, and I think the other alternative is there are UK-based providers for that kind of service. So maybe worth just looking into some of those and seeing if you can spread your manufacturing base a little bit. Question from Ian, looking at gov.uk/tax foreign income, does this mean you'd pay double tax on dividends from an EU company once in Estonia, then again in the UK? I don't know if Claire has an opinion on that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not my area of expertise. I don't know if you've looked into this, Shelley.
I haven't actually covered the double taxation issue, but my feeling is, and I don't know this for sure, is that if there's a deal, double taxation will not apply. However, if we're in WTO territory, it might apply. But as a general principle, the UK does have double taxation or taxation treaties with most countries that stop double taxation happening. So the norm would be for that not to occur. But
I think the best answer we can give is when we find out for sure, we will let people know through the group. But at the moment, we haven't researched that. So.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of questions from Gavin and Samesh about the Amazon accounts, which unfortunately we can't answer at the moment.
I mean, we can only speculate on what will happen with Amazon, but just to reiterate, what I'd like to do is to write an open letter to Amazon from the community saying that we would like the facility to be able to register a European company and a UK company to provide them with proof that it is indeed us and to allow us to continue to benefit from the pan-EU FBA or the EFN program, but through another country if we have a European company. And that this should be fairly simple to set up. And that it would be great if they announced that prior to the 31st of December 2020. So if everybody agrees that that's a good open letter to send to them and that they would love to join me in signing that, and they're not afraid of Amazon, then I think that would really speak volumes if we got a community-based request to do this. And you never know, might influence things.
it influences things. Maybe we could do something every month and just bash them with a big petition every month.
Either that. Yeah, that too. But I don't want to bash them. I actually want to just say, look, this is a real simple solution. It would help some of us. I'd be happy to pen that with volunteers from the community who might be better at doing this kind of thing if they're up for it. But I think we should use the power of our voice, our collective voice. That's why we've set up this community. And but in a positive way, in a really helpful way, because bashing, I don't think, will get us anywhere.
Okay, question for Claire, I guess. Do we need an EORI number for every individual company? Yeah, sorry, Eddie, put my teeth back in. Do we need an EORI for every individual country, or just the one into which you want to import? My understanding is a single EU one, right?
Yeah, a single EU one. Yeah, not every country at all. No, just every.
Suraj's question, and David as well. Okay, if we are VAT registered and have already given power of attorney to VAT Global of Vasco, I guess maybe simply VAT, do we also need additional fiscal representation?
Yeah, the rules are kind of the legislation, so you need to talk to your VAT supplier about how they're what their solutions are to it. But it's the legislation. It's EU countries wanting non-EU companies to have fiscal representation.
Just trying to read this question from Roberto. So Roberto, your question is kind of about accounts in Amazon, and yeah, I'm not sure we can answer that. I think it's going to, as we said before, I think the best way to deal with that is to, if you're going down that route, just to try and run down your stock in the UK entity and then try and build up the stock in the EU entity between now and January. There's some few questions about brand registry. I'm not sure if people know this, but brand registry, you can grant access to brand registry to a second Amazon seller account. I've done this before when consulting with people. Is they add my account as a brand registry authorized account, and then I can then manipulate those listings and those brands. So even if you had to set up a second brand, I think brand registry in itself is set up already to help you deal with that and have two companies basically accessing an existing brand registry application. So I don't think brand registry is going to be the biggest problem. I think there are other issues with Amazon which we need to deal with in the next few months.
Yeah.
Okay, what have we got? This question from Nigel. Does anyone know about EU product labeling requirements, and is a local address needed? My understanding is yes, you do need an EU-based address, but it does vary depending on category. But that's just that I haven't researched that in detail, but that was my top-level understanding.
Claire, do you have a view on that? Do you know much about that? Claire?
No, sorry. No, wouldn't know about it.
Okay. Question about Payoneer. France won't accept VAT payments from my World First account. Is that the same for Payoneer? Short answer is no, it's not the same, because I pay my VAT, my French VAT for my Payoneer account, and have done for 4 years, 5 years, however long they've had the option. Yeah. So yes, that you can pay from France.
Yeah, you can pay your VAT from France. We've also got a direct debit solution that is open. So yeah, super easy to pay your VAT in France or any other European countries.
Yeah, I reckon that. I've used Payoneer I love that it's free as well, by the way, but it's a direct link. So I know that it's going to be safe. I know that I'm not going to end up not paying and get, I hate fines. I just don't believe in them in principle. So I love that my Payoneer account can do that for me. I think it's an amazing facility that these guys offer. Somebody's asked about Austria, and I think this is a question for Claire. Shall I just jump to that for a minute? So this is Austria needs a fiscal rep, but with no shared liability. Does Simply VAT meet this requirement if you're filing for us currently, or would we need to pay for a fiscal rep there too, as with Italy and Poland?
Yeah, this is something we're looking at. Spain is similar. There's no liability, so there's not a problem there. So again, we'll be issuing information on all the countries. But yeah, if there's no liability, then it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Question from Nancy: do you need to be VAT registered in the UK to get a VAT number in Germany, for example?
No, we've got quite a high local VAT registration threshold in the UK of £85,000, so you can easily be registered elsewhere if you've got kind of niche markets in the EU. Yeah.
Exactly, and the same goes to the Estonia. So your Estonian company may not be registered for VAT in Estonia, but it will probably be registered, well, needs to be registered wherever it has stock. So Germany, France, please Spain.
Yeah.
Claire, how long is it taking at the moment to set up pan-EU VAT numbers for a new company?
The countries are different. The likes of Germany have been taking like 12 weeks. I think they're quite understaffed and inundated. So it really depends on the country. Other countries like Spain, you can do in a week. It's really varied up to about 12 weeks, I think, for all the countries.
Yep, okay. Just give me a second. I also need to get to the questions on Facebook because not everyone can get in because our room is full.
Okay, all right.
Just as I mentioned on the Facebook group, is that we run these events for free, and so our limit is 100 people live. We're in the catch-22 that if we charged, we could afford to have more people in, but then fewer people would want to turn up. So it's a bit tricky for us to manage in the best way. Okay, just give me a second.
I've just gone into there, Christian. So Ian Beaumont asked, what are inward processing relief and customs comprehensive guarantees? And I did actually ask a freight forwarder that question yesterday, a UK-based freight forwarder. And these are essentially forms that you need to fill in order to import your goods into the UK, but not have them land in the UK, have them resent out across the border into Europe. This would be in 2021. And your freight forwarder can usually facilitate the filling in of those forms, but they essentially mean that the UK will not charge you duty and VAT on those imports if they're going to be exported out again very, very quickly. And at this point, Alex joins us, which is really quite a good thing. So we're just
very sorry for the problem. Sorry.
I'm just talking about this question that was about what and the customs guarantees are basically that you are going to need to get your bank to provide a guarantee that that you're solid and that you're a business that will pay your taxes, basically. So it's a bit of formality and bureaucracy, but it does mean that you could potentially do a different flow of inventory. You could bring it into the UK, you could not pay your tax here, and then you could ship it back out to Germany, France, Italy, or Spain. But then you would pay the WTO rate, one must presume right now, that would be charged on that inventory coming into Germany, France, Italy, Spain, or whatever the country is. But you wouldn't be double taxed, basically. So that's what that is. Right. What was
did you answer the question about is it better to get the EURI number in Estonia or Germany?
No, I haven't answered that yet. Do you want to pick that up? Hello?
Alex, do you want to answer that question?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the answer is very clear because you have to get this number in the country that will be the first where the goods come. So if you send the goods to Germany, you have this number EORI in Germany first. And it will work for all the Europe. But you don't go to Estonia to get this number and then go with your first shipment to Germany.
So you're saying that you should register the EORI number in the first country you're going to ship into and use that EORI number, and then after that you can use it everywhere.
Right. Right. The first country where you move your stock, this is the country where you have to get the EORI number.
Okay.
Oh, and is that possible even though you're not, say, a German company? Is that easy to?
You have to have VAT in Germany to get stock in it.
It is possible.
It is. Okay, that's good to know. Great. Excellent. And a freight forwarder like yourself would be able to get that for us, would you, or not?
Can you repeat this question for me, please? It was for me, right?
Can you facilitate us getting that EORI number in Germany as opposed to?
Yes, of course.
Estonia? You can.
Yes, of course.
Excellent. Great. Good.
We will help you with this.
Good. Okay. Any more?
Through Samesh's question on the group is quite thick. Trying to see if I can pull out a question from it.
Very hard to look at that. I tried it and I've given up. So perhaps, and we need to wrap up. We've been going, believe it or not, quite some time now, 2 hours, and we are beginning to lose some of the audience. So
let's just try and do the last few questions from the group, because I did say to people that couldn't get in to post questions there.
Okay.
So a question from Jason. For people who want to just use Germany, is it hard to file your own VAT returns on Elster, which I guess is an acronym for something? I've just had a proposal from an external company who wants £100 a month to do a monthly VAT return in Germany only. That's more than we pay per year for our UK accountant. So is it possible to file yourself in Germany if you're just doing Germany? It's a question for Claire.
Yeah. You can do it yourself.
Can I actually, shall I just add? So I've registered for VAT in Germany because I had to for one of the businesses, but I was still below the distance selling threshold for Germany, which is about 100K, I think, in euros. So what we've managed to do, and I've done this with the Simply VAT team, what we've managed to do is to ask the German authorities to only tax me once a year. And actually at the point where I registered for VAT, the German part of my business has been shut down by Amazon. So I am currently registered for VAT in Germany, but because I'm a chicken shit little player, although I will possibly get close to the threshold this year, but at the start of the year, it didn't look that way. Anyway, so because I'm a chicken shit player, we've got me registered to only pay once a year, and therefore that means we only prepare the VAT returns once a year. And I think Claire's team are not going to charge me the equivalent of a whole year's fees for that. So I've managed to make it work extremely well by having a good account manager, a good relationship with them, and explaining what I think is going to happen with my business.
Yeah, that's a good point, Shelley.
Okay, next.
That's everything. I think that's everything.
That's everything. Cool. So do you just want to put up the contact details, which are on the next slide? Before we may wish to see that. So obviously, our sponsor and main partner here, Payoneer, have a very good deal for anyone who wishes to set up an account with Payoneer. You basically get £100 cash back on the first 1,000 dollars, euros, whatever. Right? Is it? I'm looking at Nathan for that bit, but you get cash back.
It's $100. Yeah, for the first $1,000.
Yeah, the first load over £1,000 or dollars equivalent, you get $100 just loaded into the account as a first thank you.
Okay, cool. Obviously, Wappy will look after you and provide you with a ScaleForEtail discount. Is that right, Alex?
Absolutely. Just contact us, send us an email, wappy.com, and mention there the ScaleForEtail, and we'll give you a special offer, special price.
If any of you want to put your email addresses, talk to the presenters. If you want to put your email addresses in the chat, feel free. But if you don't want to, I've posted
of course.
And then obviously Claire is provides a great service to the community. And again, just mention ScaleForEtail, and you will be well looked after.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Good. And join our Facebook group, and then join us again. Thank you very much at the end of the month. When's our next one, Christian? I think it's in the last
2 weeks' time with Jeff Schick is going to be talking about the legal issues around selling in the US. So this is the EU one. He's going to talk about the issues of selling in the US as a UK-based company. Again, we're going to invite questions from people and he'll try and cover them. He's a very experienced, very talented, and very well-respected lawyer in the US, and he works with a lot of Amazon sellers. So it's a great person to have with us, and we're very happy to have him, and hopefully he's useful to the community.
Great. Okay. Well, I think we've just got to thank our speakers. You guys have been awesome and have made this an amazing session. So thank you very much to Alex, to Claire, and of course to Nathan. Couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you. Can I just say about Brexit bootcamp, Shelley, that's from the 7th?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. We're going to be holding a Brexit bootcamp sessions across 4 days from the 7th of September, kind of deep diving into the VAT issues and other stuff. And Shelley's going to be supporting us on that as well. So I hope to see you there.
Yeah, lovely. Where do we sign up? If you can just maybe tap the link into the box or let us have
We'll also post a link on the Facebook group as well later.
Yeah.
But,
The marketing's starting next Wednesday, so we'll be putting from that point.
Good. Excellent. Well, and thank you above all to everyone who's still here at the end of a couple of hours of what I thought might be pretty dry and, boring kind of stuff. This isn't about selling or marketing or, whatever. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next week as a downpour starts right outside my window here.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.